Hey, it's Nikki. I just wanted to pop in and invite you to the Sales Scripts for Increasing Influence Masterclass. It's happening in September. This course is for the person who loves language and is committed to improving their communication skills. We would love to have you in this course with us. I am going to be focusing on how to uncover and overcome objections and then what to say to move past those objections. I am going to be teaching techniques on how to speak with more clarity, how to prompt people to take action by the way that you frame your questions and the way you frame your suggestions, and so much more. We'd love to have you join. Now, to get more details and to register, and when you register using this link, it's going to save you $200 off the registration fee. So here's the link, yoursalesmaven.com/SEPT save 200. So it's like September save 200, but abbreviated for September. So SEPT save 200. yoursalesmaven.com/SEP save 200. Would love to have you in this course with us. It is fantastic content. It will absolutely change the way you communicate. I hope to see you there.
Do sales conversations make you feel awkward or pushy? It's time to ditch the outdated salesy strategies. Your guide, Nikki Roush, will show you how to combine kindness with selling skills to meet your prospects where they are, and in the process, how to up-level your influence and income. Learn how to earn business easily and effortlessly. Here's Nikki.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Sales Maven Show. I'm your host, Nikki Roush. Today is part of the episode today is part of the Mastering Excellence series. This is a concept that comes from my background in neurolinguistic programming, where we learn that there is a structure to excellence. And once you understand the structure, you can then apply it to your own life and business. So the idea is to interview experts who are getting exceptional results. And oh my gosh, am I excited to welcome to the show today. Our guest is Bob Burg. Now, if you're not familiar with Bob, let me give you a little bit about his background. For over 30 years, Bob Burg has been successfully showing entrepreneurs, leaders, and sales professionals how to communicate their value and accelerate their referral business. Although for years he was best known for his sales classic, Endless Referrals, it's his business parable, The Go-Giver, co-authored with John David Mann, that has created a worldwide movement. While part of a 4-book series, The Go-Giver itself has sold more than 1 million copies and been translated into 30 languages. It was rated number 10 on Inc. magazine's list of the most motivational books ever written and was on HubSpot's 20 most highly rated sales books of all time. Bob is an advocate, supporter, and defender of the free enterprise system, believing that the amount of money one makes is directly proportional to how many people they serve. He is also an unapologetic animal fanatic and served on the board of directors of Furry Friends Adoption and Clinic in his own town of Jupiter, Florida. Bob Burg, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Nikki. Great to be with you.
I am super excited to have you here. I will totally agree with all the awards that you've been given, specifically around The Go-Giver, because I will say that's been the most influential book I've ever read.
Wow.
It's so good. And I love that it's told in a parable, because I'm a huge fan of storytelling, and parables are just such a great way to get the concept across. Now, I know in the book you give the 5 laws. I don't know if you're willing to just give us the 5 laws really quickly for the listener.
Sure. Yeah, and they're the 5 laws that John and I share in the book are based around a premise, an overriding premise, which is that shifting your focus, which is where it all begins, shifting your focus from getting to giving. And when we say giving in this context, Nikki, we simply mean constantly and consistently providing immense value to others, understanding that doing so is not only a more fulfilling way of conducting business, it's actually the most financially profitable way as well. And, not for any kind of way out there, woo-woo, magical, mystical reasons. It actually makes very rational sense. When you're that person who can take your focus off yourself and place it instead on serving others, on discovering what they need, what they want, what they desire, and helping them to solve or overcome their problems. In focusing on helping move them closer to happiness, people feel good about you. They feel great about you. They want to get to know you. They like you. They trust you. They want to be in relationship with you. They want to do business with you if there's a need for your product or service, but they definitely want to be your what we would call personal walking ambassador and tell others about you. So that's the general premise. Then there are the 5 laws, the laws of value, compensation, influence, authenticity, and receptivity. Would you like me to do a little Reader's Digest version of the 5 of them?
If you're willing, I would be so honored. Thank you.
So law number 1, the law of value, says your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment. Now, this sounds counterintuitive when you first hear it. Give more in value than I take in payment. That sounds like a recipe for bankruptcy, right? So we simply have to understand the difference between price and value. Yeah. Price is a dollar figure. It's a dollar amount. It's finite. It is what it is. Value, on the other hand, is the relative worth or desirability of a thing, of something, to the end user or beholder. In other words, what is it about this thing, this product, service, concept, idea, what have you, that brings so much worth or value to another human being that they will willingly exchange their money for it and be glad they did? So a very quick example would be the accountant who you hire to do your taxes, and she charges you, let's just say $1,000. That's her fee, literally her price, $1,000.
Right.
But what value does she give you in exchange? Well, through her years of knowledge, hard work, experience, learning about you and your business and what you're looking to accomplish, she's able to save you $5,000 in taxes. She saves you countless hours of time. She provides you and your family with the security and the peace of mind of knowing it was done correctly. So she actually gave you well over $5,000 in value in exchange for $1,000 fee or price. She gave you more in value than she took in payment. So you feel great about it. And she also made a very healthy profit, which she should. And it was well worth it to her to trade her time, her money, her energy. I trade her time and energy and knowledge and experience for that $1,000. Yeah. But this happened not because her focus was on her fee, but because her focus was on the immense value she was providing you. This is why John David Mann and I say that money is simply an echo of value. It's the thunder, if you will, to value's lightning, which means nothing more than that the value must be the focus. That comes first. The money you receive is simply a natural result of the value you've provided. So that's really, in essence, law number 1. Now, law number 2, and I'll keep these shorter. Law number 2 is the law of compensation. Now, the law of compensation says your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. So where law number 1 says to give more in value than you take in payment, law number 2 tells us that the more people whose lives you touch with the exceptional value you provide, the more money with which you'll be rewarded. Your accountant, in the first example, did a great job of giving you more in value, right, than she took in payment. Now, the chances are you are very happy with her, that you would use her again. Absolutely. And you would refer her to others, right? Yes, well, her other clients feel the same way. So our accountant is very quickly amassing, again, what we call an army or network of personal walking ambassadors. And as she continues to add that kind of exceptional value to the lives of more and more people, her income will continue to grow and grow. In this part of the story, Nicole Martin was the mentor, and she told Joe, the protege, that value, the law of value, represents your potential income, but it's the law of compensation that represents your actual income, because that's all about how many lives you impact with that value. So we could say exceptional value plus significant reach equals very high compensation. Law number 3 is the law of influence. This says your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first. Again, that sounds counterintuitive, maybe even counterproductive or even downright Pollyanna-ish, right? So let me explain that when we say place the other person's interests first, we certainly don't mean that you should be anyone's doormat or a martyr or self-sacrificial in any way. Absolutely not at all. It's simply, as Joe, the protege, learned from several of the mentors, the golden rule of business, of sales, of networking, what have you, is that all things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to those people they know, like, and trust. And, and I know you know this, there's no faster, more powerful, or more effective way to elicit those feelings toward you from others than by genuinely moving from an I focus or me focus to an other focus, looking for ways to, as Sam, one of the mentors in the story, advised Joe, make your win all about the other person's win.
Yes, I love that part of the story.
Thank you. Law number 4 is the law of authenticity. And this one says the most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself. Now, in this part of the story, the mentor was Deborah, the very successful realtor.
Yeah.
She shared a very important lesson, which is all the skills in the world, the sales skills, technical skills, people skills, as important as they are, and they are all indeed very, very important, they're also all for naught if you don't come at it from your true authentic core. But when you do, when you show up as yourself day after day, week after week, month after month, people feel good about you. People feel comfortable with you. People feel safe with you. Why wouldn't they? They know who they're getting. And that kind of consistency through authenticity is what really gets that trust. You know what I'm saying? And that's what makes it sustainable in terms of trust. So very, very important. Law number 5 is the law of receptivity. And that simply says that the key to effective giving is to stay open to receiving. This really means nothing more than understanding that, you know what, Nikki, you breathe out, you also have to breathe in.
That's right.
You breathe out carbon dioxide.
When Pindar does that with Joe in the story, so good.
Yeah, you breathe out. That's the great writing of John David Mann. He was the storyteller.
He's a great storyteller. Yeah.
Oh, he's amazing. Yeah, and so you breathe out carbon dioxide. You breathe in oxygen. You breathe out, which is giving. You breathe in, which is receiving. Well, here's the thing: giving and receiving are not opposite concepts. Yet the world around us pretty much provides us that message that they are. The world fills us with anti-prosperity messages pretty much from the time we're born, right? And all through growing up, our upbringing, environment, schooling, news media, television shows, social media, everywhere, right? You hear these horrible messages about business and about money and about wealth and about abundance. And you think anybody who does well did it on the backs of others. And and hey, let's face it, there's, it's a big world. There's a lot of people who do bad things, but here's the thing. When you're working in a basically free market economy, simply meaning that no one's forced to do business with you, right? The only way you can earn a whole lot of money is to serve a whole lot of people. And serve them very, very well, because nobody has to buy from you. I often, when I speak at a sales conference, the first thing I'll say is, nobody's going to buy from you because you have a quota to meet, right? They're not going to buy from you because you need the money or even because you're a nice person.
Right.
They're going to buy from you because they believe that they'll be better off by doing so than by not doing so. And that's the only reason why anyone should buy from you or from me or from anyone else. So when you have provided this value to others, so many others, and you've planted so many seeds of goodwill, of great will, you've created this benevolent context for your success. Now it's a matter of being able to receive. Now, so we go back to giving and receiving, not opposite concepts. It's not, are you a giver or a receiver? You're a giver and a receiver. Okay. But what you know is that the giving comes first. This is universal law. It's the law of human nature. It's the law of physical nature. We plant before we harvest.
Yes.
We sow before we reap.
Yes.
We give before we receive, right? This is universal law.
Yeah.
But we need to be able to receive when it's the proper time to do that. So giving and receiving are simply two sides of the very same coin, and they work in tandem. That's basically the 5 laws.
So good. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
So I know I did want to dig in a little bit more about the law of receptivity, because I find that a lot of times when I'm working with my clients, this can be a very uncomfortable piece for people. It's because, like you said, there's a lot of societal norms. There's been a lot of messaging from a very early age that, it's better to give than to receive, like all the things that you just went through. So I'm wondering if I can ask you, if I were to stand in for you for a day, if I get to like be Bob Burg for the day, like what a treat that would be. But how would I have to behave in order to really be open to receiving? I'm super curious about this from your perspective.
How would you have to be? I think you'd be receptive.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it comes down to that. It's it's a decision, just like Nicole told Joe early in the story, that making a little money or making a lot of money was a decision. It came down to that. And I think it's the same in receiving. However, what we also have to understand is that we can work our way up to it. Now, if you have as a basic premise, and this is always on an unconscious level, if you have as a basic premise that, again, money is evil, only bad people have money, if you make money, you must be dishonest, and you have all those things in your head. My friend Randy Gage, great prosperity teacher, calls them mind viruses, right? Memes that we don't even know we have, and yet they run us. They rule our lives. Again, it's unconscious. That's what's so insidious about it. It's unconscious. The first thing we need to do is we need to, ask ourselves if we have a pattern of sabotaging our financial successes or any kind of abundance. Okay, we need to we need to first make the unconscious conscious.
Yes, because
it's only when we understand there's an issue that we're in a position to be able to effectively deal with it. Right. So, so if you're listening, not you, but I mean, if one is listening to this and they identify with that and they say, I'm always, the big sale happens, I do something to mess it up, or I suddenly get sick, or I mess up the paperwork, or I do something that just seems every time, or I, leave late and arrive too late to, or something, whatever it is.
Yes.
First, congratulations for recognizing it, because now that you recognize it's a pattern, now you're in a position to take steps. Now, I would suggest studying prosperity. Okay. You don't get wealthy by studying poverty. Okay, you get wealthy by studying prosperity. There's a wonderful book written in 1910 that I think everybody should read and read again and again and again. It's called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. It's a short book. It's absolutely magnificent. Now, there are prosperity teachers out there who they write on it, they blog about it, they do podcasts on it, they talk about it all the time, and they're wonderful. And I think we need to study them actively, proactively, because we get the anti-prosperity garbage coming into our living rooms and our heads and our environments all the time. So people like Randy Gage, people like the late Bob Proctor, who we just recently lost, people like Sharon Lechter, people like Ellen Rogan, people like Ken Honda, people like David Nagel. These people are just wonderful when it comes to prosperity thinking and prosperity teaching. And you'll notice that 99.9% of what they talk about is getting rid of the blocks. It's not the how-to. You teach the how-to, you're wonderful, and but they teach the actual getting rid of those roadblocks. Again, it starts with making the unconscious conscious. Now, let's talk about one more thing.
Okay. In
order to kind of build our prosperity muscles, because like anything else, it's a muscle. And if your goal is to lift 200 pounds, and you haven't worked out, you don't start at 200 pounds. You start at 10 pounds.
Right.
And then you go to 20 and then 35 and then 60 and that, right? And you build on your small successes. So let's say somebody gives you a compliment. Instead of saying, oh, no, it's whatever, you just simply say, oh, thank you so much. Right. Or somebody, offers to be you're getting a coffee cup at the local store and somebody is pouring theirs and they just offer to pour yours. I said, oh, no, that's okay. I'll do it. You might practice by saying, oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. And you hold your cup out. Okay. Somebody wants to buy you pick up the check and buy you the meal. This was a tough thing for me. This was one of the tough because I always watched my dad pick up the check. So to me, it was, you pick up the check always, no matter who you with, you pick up the check. It's just our beliefs. It's our unconscious beliefs. Yeah. So one way that I retrain my brain is to start letting people pick up the checks when they offered. And so, somebody offered, and oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. And so as you're building, each of these is a little more than the other. And then, you have some money coming in, you say to yourself, thank you, or you thank God, or thank the universe, or however you want to do it. And then bigger checks come in and you say, thank you. And bigger checks come in and you say, thank you. And whatever comes to you that's good in your mind, you say, thank you, and you allow yourself to receive it. That's how you build up to that 200 pounds, 10 pounds at a time.
What a great break. I feel like that was a masterclass just right there. That was exactly what I was hoping to get out of this. Thank you so much for that. And such great concrete examples around, those little things that start to build that muscle. Just even accepting a compliment for some of us can be very difficult. Accepting, that idea of picking up a check. Oh my gosh, that feels counterintuitive to me to not be the person to pick up the check. So I love these examples. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So just a couple more questions around this. Is there anything in particular that you start to notice when you are in you've built this muscle for yourself? And do you ever find yourself coming up against like a new roadblock around it that maybe you're like, well, I've built it. I've been doing really well. And then, here, this thing happened. Oh, I got some more work to do. Or has that ever?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think it does, and I mean, I think whenever we move to a new level, there's a new challenge. Dr. Gay Hendricks wrote a couple of books on this in this regard, and I'm trying to think of the name of the last one which he wrote, which was right on this topic. And he talked about, as human beings, what we often do is once we go a little bit higher than what we've gone before, the negativity starts creeping in, and we say, "Oh, did I really deserve this?" Is this something I'm supposed to have? Right. Yeah. So I think to a certain degree, we all I don't know about all, but I think, I do that we struggle with that. And we just say, did I earn this? Do I deserve this? And, is this so? Yeah. I mean, I can't think of any times lately that's happened, but I know that's a part of my life as much as anyone else's.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay. Now I know for the sake of time, I do want to find out a little bit more if you're willing to share. So I always like to ask a few questions that maybe are kind of for the audience to get to know you a little bit better. So I would love to ask you, how do you celebrate your wins now? Because you've had so much success. Is there anything in particular that you do to celebrate the wins that come your way?
I just think I say thank you and I'm grateful for them. I don't really, at this point, I'm 64 years old. I've kind of been around for a while, a little bit of gray hair. And so I'm always grateful, always appreciative when something good happens, but there's nothing I do to celebrate in particular.
Okay. Is there anything exciting going on in your business right now? And I'd love for you to share a little bit more about how people do work with you, because you've got some really cool things.
Oh, thank you. My business partner, Kathy Tajanel, who's so very brilliant, she and I have put together what we call the Go-Giver Community, which is an online network for go-givers. So, it's people who want to live their lives and conduct business the go-giver way and connect with others, who are doing the same. So, that's our thing that I'm very excited about. And it's sort of got my entire energy attached to it.
Yeah, yeah. And how do people work with you? Because I feel like there's a few different ways. Would you be willing to share a little bit about that?
Sure. One of them is joining the community, and that's at the Go-Giver Community. So not thegogiver.com, but thegogivercommunity.com.
Perfect.
Without the hyphen.
Yes.
And so that would be one way. Kathy and I also hold about 4 times a year what's called the Go Giver Entrepreneurs Academy Beyond the Mastermind. And that's we limit that to 8 people. And it's a 2-day, very intense collaboration between 8 very successful people, plus Kathy and me, plus 2 of our certified Go Giver speakers, our special master coaches. So it's really, pretty powerful. That's at beyondthemastermind.com. We just changed the URL, beyondthemastermind.com. Our next one's actually in October.
Okay.
The next opening. That's pretty much it. Otherwise, people can just come to burg.com, connect there. We have a team of certified Go Giver speakers from around the world who license my, I guess they're called intellectual properties, although it's hard for me to think of having intellectual properties, but I guess I have.
You certainly do.
And so, So
and also your podcast. You've got an amazing podcast.
Thanks. I used to.
You used to. Are you not? You're not doing new episodes? Okay.
No, I haven't. I'm not doing that anymore. There were so many things I was doing that something had to go, and I found that the easiest one to let go.
Okay. Well, I will say for the podcast listeners,
the archives are
go listen to the archives because there's some really great episodes there, and I want to say there's like 180 episodes or something. So there's a lot to dig into. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time. I'm incredibly grateful that you said yes to coming on the podcast and sharing about your IP, your intellectual property.
Well, I love the work you're doing, and I love how you and I both do this. I think we reframe sales from something that, people can see as distasteful to something that people see as very righteous, as a way of adding value to the world. When people think of sales and they think of the trying to convince somebody to buy something they don't want or need, and that's selling. No, that's not selling. That's called being a con artist.
That's right.
Whereas selling is simply discovering what the other person does need, want, or desire, and helping them to get it. And when we look at sales that way, we can feel so much better about it. The old English root of the word sale, or of the word sell, is selan, which meant to give. So when you're selling, you're literally giving. Now, someone might say, well, isn't that just semantics? I don't think so, because if you're about to do a sales presentation for a prospective customer or client, you're selling. So what are you giving? I suggest you're giving them time, attention, counsel, education, empathy, most of all, immense value. So, one of the things, again, I just love about what you do, and I know we're of like mind, is reframing sales into something that we can be all proud of.
Amen. I often say sales isn't something that you do to somebody, it's something you do with people. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole concept. And I will say that when I read The Go Giver, I felt like this was the first book on sales, the first teaching on sales where I was like, yes, this feels 100% authentic and true and congruent with how I want to sell in the world. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, that's so kind of you. Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you for being here. All right. For you, the listener, thank you so much for your time and attention. I hope you got as much out of this conversation as I did, and that you will be more open to receiving, and that you'll start to build that muscle, because it's such an important part. Just like, you breathe out, but you also have to breathe in too. So remember that. Thank you for being here. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Sales Maven. Visit us online at yoursalesmaven.com/maven for more resources to boost your confidence and skills.